Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.
Greetings, ladies, gents, and our non-binary friends. Welcome to Spoiler Sleepover, part of the Nerdcat Network. Join your hosts, Jason, Michael, and Rob, as they bring you on a slash-tastic adventure through cinema. Now, enjoy the show. It will be a real scream of a time.
And welcome back to Spoiler Sleepover, folks.
Hey-o.
It is 2024.
That's a lot of fours.
It's a whole ass new year, man.
Look at that. We made it.
We made it.
We did it.
Oh,
I'm excited.
Man.
There's a lot of stuff to look forward to this year. If you are not following us on Instagram, I highly suggest it. We had a little calendar-esque thing, if you will, basically showing a ton of different horror and like scary property movies that are coming out over the course of 2024.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of good things to look forward to, especially come October.
This is the year of sequels also. It's just
there was a lot
of sequels that they have announced are insane. I mean, honestly, aside from Terrifier 3, which we are both unnecessarily excited to see, at least for me, I'm really amped to see this new Ghostbusters movie because...
Dude, oh my god, same.
That trailer, they're just straight up killing people.
Okay. Before we dive further into that, I was never a big Ghostbusters kid. I watched the first one, loved it, then put it down, watched Ghostbusters 2, completely forgot about it. Came back, saw Afterlife. That's the only other sequel I've seen. I cried at the ending of Afterlife.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
it's beautiful.
It's such a great movie, and they really just did such an homage to him in
oh my god,
making sure that he was still present and that it wasn't just like, all right, we're gonna move past this. Like,
it was
like,
respectful.
So respectful. Yeah. I'm really excited to see what they do with this next one.
Yeah.
More than anything. Because, dude, they're fucking freezing people to death and stabbing people with ice spears. There's so much.
It feels like it's a complete left turn for Ghostbusters, but they're ghosts.
Well, and that's the thing, too, is I feel like the PG-13 quote-unquote horror that we got back in like the 80s and 90s has completely turned around. And I feel like I don't want to completely say it's like Stranger Things has something to do with this, but I mean, I feel like Stranger Things has something to do with this. The show's fucked up and it's dark. The latest news was that this last season is not meant for kids. Like, apparently they're going super dark and super violent.
I mean, not a lot of it was meant for kids in the first place.
No, God, no. But I'm curious. I'm excited and curious to see where Ghostbusters 4 goes. So,
it's like, I know there's ghosts or spirits that thrive in colder environments. Mm-hmm. I mean, Phasmophobia is not only a terrifying game, but you also learn things. So maybe it's a Goryo, maybe it's a Hantu. Who's to know?
Fucking nerd.
Yeah. Hey, listen, you know who would agree with me on that? Mr. Cyrene!
Oh, boy. Yeah, Ryan's the best. And he's also a fucking nerd, too.
But we're finally out of the winter horror land that we were making. And we're moving back to our top threes. But Rob, before we get to that, what's been keeping you up at night?
Ooh. I have had a short, long week, I guess is the best way to put it. So, long in the sense of one of the movies I watched is 3 fucking hours long.
God. What the fuck?
Yeah. So, with the new year and everything, I was very busy. Busy with work, busy with family stuff. So, I didn't, have a whole lot of sit down and watch time because I've also been playing. I won't get into it again, but I've been playing a lot of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. The fucking game is amazing.
Good.
But I sat down with my partner's son and watched League of Super Pets. It is awesome. It's the DC movie with Crypto, and dude, I'm telling you, I was laughing my ass off the entire movie. It is unnecessarily entertaining and fun. And
That's awesome.
It's a kids movie whilst also being for the adults. Like, there's a turtle who gets super speed and is foul mouth. They literally censor like the beep noise while, dude, watch it. It's so much fun.
I'm guessing Max?
No, it's on Netflix. Fuck Netflix, but good job,
really?
Netflix. Like, yeah.
Netflix,
it was,
ooh.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the trailer for it when I went to see The Batman in theaters. And I was like, wow, this looks surprisingly good. And it was fantastic.
Then it connects at the end with Black Adam, and that's not apparently going anywhere.
Black Adam was okay. I mean,
it was okay, but it was just a solid sand color the entire movie.
This is content for something that we have later. We have planned later, but we'll do it. We'll do our DC Marvel things later. But the other thing, the 3-hour venture I took myself on, which was one of the most confusingly weird things I have watched in a long time. I finally watched Beau is Afraid.
Oh, how was it? I feel like that's a bigger question.
I did not see it in theaters, even though I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because I was very worried that it was going to stress me out. Like panic attack stressed me out. Because that's what I had heard from other people and read in articles. This is a highly stressful movie and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, I don't want to sit down and be stressed the fuck out for 3 hours. So I'm just going to wait until it's streaming and then I'll watch it. And so it hit Peacock. I was like, all right, it's up. I'll watch it. It went up over a week ago. Every time I've had an extended period of time to myself, I'm like,
a free 3 hours.
I don't know. Maybe not tonight. Maybe not today. I just kept putting it off. And so the other night I was just like, it's now or never. So I just put it on. Yeah, literally. So I just put it on. And there are specific like first act, second act, third act moments like throughout the movie.
Yeah.
So as soon as I realized we were transitioning into another act of the movie, I'd pause and take a break because I was just like, I got to move around. This is fucking 3 hours long.
Damn.
The end of it, visually, it's a very visually stunning film, but it's also ridiculously weird and ridiculously confusing. I know that it's supposed to be Beau's character is a man with schizophrenia who is dealing with he's got stress and panic disorders and all of these things, and that everything that we're viewing is the way that he views the world, and so the world really isn't that way. But it also hits a point, especially at the end of the movie, where you're like not sure what is happening.
Oh,
like, is any of this real? What is real? What isn't real? I'm going to be honest. I love Ari Aster. This is not his best film.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that was the question I had this whole time was, is it up to par with some of his other work?
No. God, no.
Damn.
Visually, yes. Visually, yes.
Okay.
Story-wise, no. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate and a lot of shit for saying that, and I really don't care. But maybe I need to, down the road, give it a second watch.
I have to watch it. Maybe this might be our divisive movie because I love Joaquin Phoenix.
We're going to have to find another way to. Maybe it'll be our very first ever two-parter where we have to break this down in two parts because there is a lot to unpack. Jesus. And there is so much. It's a 3-hour film.
Oh, 3-hour film. There you go.
Oh, God.
You're welcome. See what you've done. Somehow this is from you.
Yeah, I've created a fucking monster.
You proud of me, Dad?
That's mine for the week. It's just those two things. What's been keeping you up at night?
I have been doing about the same stuff as I've always been fucking doing. That's right. It's past the first of the year. It's Metalocalypse time, baby. You know what I spent New Year's Day doing? Watching the entire first season and half of the second one. You're goddamn right. Oh my god. This show is the best show. Oh.
You are unhinged, sir.
We watched a few movies together as a house here with me and my roommates, and we watched the Netflix movie Leave the World Behind. I knew nothing about it. I guess it's based on a book. It's got Mahershala Ali. It's got Julia Roberts. It's got Kevin Bacon. It's got Ethan Hawke. Camera angles in this movie, incredible. There are camera transitions and camera work that is astounding. Like, I was the only one who probably cared about it when all three of us were watching it, but I was like, they just panned right through the window and the scene continued. It didn't break at all. And no one said a thing.
Like that.
Yeah, and I was like, that's fucking amazing. But it's a trip for sure. It's a trip, absolutely.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. My parents and my brother were like, it's real weird. So yeah. I've filled my quota of weird.
Yeah, no, I would take a break
this month.
Depending on how Beau is Afraid is, like you're gonna want to not follow. You don't want to double feature here.
Yeah,
but it's also like I'm not going to spoil it because it is probably the greatest scene of the movie, but it is also the strangest scene of the movie based on the direction it was shot. That's all I will say. You will know.
It's on my list. So
yeah. And the last thing I've been doing on my list, unfortunately, I haven't continued with Reacher yet, but I will. That is still on my list. But what I have restarted, I don't know if I ever talked about. I think I might have talked about it in the early Instagram live stream. What's been keeping us up at night? The show Banshee. It's from Cinemax, and then it's got Anthony Starr who plays Homelander in The Boys. It's an incredible show. It's so good. It's so well acted. There's questionable CG at certain points, but they're like, hey, we need a big explosion. And some dude who's like, I learned Photoshop the other week. Sometimes it'll be like that. But like, so,
is this Anthony a rewatch Starr for you, or is this a first time?
This is a rewatch. This is a first rewatch. So I've only ever watched it once. So anything I missed, I'm going to catch up on. Anything I know.
It's on my list. I keep seeing little clips here and there from it, and I'm like, man, this seems really good. And then I look at how much there is to watch, and I'm like, that's too much.
It is lengthy. It's like 20-hour-long episodes per season, and there's 4 seasons.
Yeah.
It's honestly like sometimes when we were watching The Rookie, because there's 20 episodes of that, 45 minutes, 5 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if you ever get the chance, absolutely, Banshee, you can't go wrong with Anthony Starr. He's equally as terrifying as he is as Homelander.
I will. I mean, it's on my list. It's something I want to see, so I'll definitely end up getting around to it sooner than later.
But that's what has been keeping us up at night this week. Please let us know what's been keeping you up at night, and we will shout you out on the Instagram, on the episode, all sorts and such. We want to hear from you. It's always great to hear from the suckers out there.
Yeah.
But, Rob, you had something to talk about.
Yeah. All right. So, it is a new year, and Jason Michael and I had a little discussion. I came up with an idea I thought was kind of cool. We want to add yet another thing to the opening of these episodes, and we're going to call it Earworm. Each week, Jason Michael and I separately are just going to pick an album by an artist, and we're just going to suggest it for listening. It's whatever we're currently listening to. We're not saying you should listen to it, but you probably should. Give it a listen. Yeah, get that earworm in there. We're both musicians. We're both huge lovers of music of all types, all different genres, and we just want to kind of spread that love out there and get it out there. So I'll go first. because I've been wanting to talk about it and just get it out there. I've been listening to for weeks now this band called Filth. They're newer. They've been around since like 2018. They only have 2 full-length albums, but I've been listening to the album The Ignorance a lot recently. They're like a mashup between power violence, death metal, and black metal. They have...
Is power violence a genre?
Yeah, power violence is a genre. Yeah,
that is the coolest fucking name ever.
Filth mixes all of that together, and their frontman is a beast. He is a huge black dude who just has the gutturals that will blow your mind. Their other vocalist does like straight up legit death metal growls, like black metal, like the real high pitched, scratchy sounds. But yeah, so check out Filth. Check out their album, The Ignorance. I absolutely love it. There isn't a bad song on the album. That is my earworm for the week. What about you, Jason Michael?
Damn. So my earworm has been an earworm since the album came out in June. My earworm, if you know me, I love me some Avenged Sevenfold. Their most recent album, Life Is But a Dream, is unlike anything they've done before. It's very atmospheric. It's trippy. It's like quick to slow. The tempo's all over the place. It's very Mr. Bungle-esque. There's like influences from all sorts of walks of music, like Daft Punk or even Frank Sinatra. The whole album's fantastic. It is a vibe. You put on headphones, you listen to it from front to back, and it needs to be listened to as a whole. You go in there with an open mind, you listen to it front to back. The entire album is one experience. And so Life Is But a Dream by Avenged Sevenfold, and I'm going to go see them again in March. So that is my earworm.
Sweet. Well, let us know what you're listening to. Seriously, we're always looking for new music. We both have pretty wide tastes in music, but that doesn't mean we haven't heard everything, because we clearly haven't heard everything. So let us know what your earworm is for the week. Please let us know. And if you actually listen to any of our suggestions, let us know. We'll give you a shout out. Speaking about nerdy shit,
that must mean it's time for Creeping It Real.
So this one, we had a chat before the record started, and I was like, we're going to go off on this one. This is going to be a long Creeping It Real.
I don't know what it is, and I'm worried.
So as of this recording, just a day ago, 1 day ago,
on New Year's Day 2024.
Correct.
Oh
no. Mickey Mouse is public domain now.
That's right. I forgot about this.
So here's why this is such an amazing Creeping It Real. All right, so you ready for this?
I'm ready.
I'm sure all you suckers out there saw I posted the movie poster. That's not a joke. Mickey Mouse, Mickey Mouse's Mousetrap is an actual movie. It's coming out. And as of today, we're recording another peek behind the curtain. We're recording on the 2nd. As of today, they announced
Don't you
Steamboat Willie. It's a Steamboat Willie Mickey Mouse horror film. There are 2 Mickey Mouse horror films getting released. 2. Here's the thing.
Nobody hesitated with this fucking thing. Jesus.
No, Mickey Mouse is public domain. Minnie, Donald, Goofy, they're not. It's just Mickey. And it's only a specific era of Mickey. So current Mickey is not public domain. It's the old school Steamboat Willie era of Mickey is public domain. So we got 2 movies announced in 2 days, one each day. On the 1st, there were also 2 Mickey Mouse horror video games announced.
Stop.
I did not get a name for either of those because I'm not 100% sure the names have been released, but the knowledge that Mickey was going public domain has been known for over a year now. Both of these games are finished. They're done. They've been made.
Stop.
So the premise that I got for one of the games is an exterminator is sent in to an old abandoned amusement park to clear out all the rats and mice before the new owners.
Origins?
That's it. There you go.
Oh, that's
And
creepy looking.
he finds that there is a spill of some sort, and one of the mice has become mutated. And there's a still, if you look it up online, there's a still of the Mickey, this kaiju-styled Mickey thing that is wandering around.
We're definitely going to post that on our Instagram so that way you could see it. Jesus.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal looking.
That's actually kind of unsettling.
Yeah. No, I'm here for it. 100%.
Wow.
It's just like, here's the thing. It's a great idea, but it's a mutated mouse that's become human, and for some reason it's wearing pants. Like, if it doesn't talk, then I don't understand why you're wearing pants. Like, it needs to become like sentient. Like, it needs to like have like a conscience for it to be like, I'm nude. So that's the Creeping It Real for this week.
Now it is finally time to get on to the episode. And with this week, we're talking about 1933's The Invisible Man, starring Claude Rains.
It's a great film. It is.
It's fantastic.
So weird, though.
Yes.
Every time I sit down to watch, I'm like, man, I have such like, I love this movie, and I can't remember why I love it. And then I watch it, I'm like, this movie's so fucking weird. And as it goes on, I'm like, it just gets weirder. And I'm like, at the end of it, I'm like, wait, that's why I like this, because it's just weird.
Effects of drugs messed him up and like took his brain and just twisted it. And oh my God. I was watching this last night, and there's several times that I wrote in my notes, he is just powerful. The portrayal of the Invisible Man given by Claude Rains is incredible. It's his first American film, and he had a great cast to work against, but he is still the star. Like, the performance he gives, there are several different rants and speeches and monologues that he goes on through this movie, and each one of them stands on their own feet. It's not like one's better than the other. I have a personal favorite, though. All of them are just so powerful, and you are afraid of this man.
Yeah. He has to have been the inspiration for at least one of the darker iterations of the Joker. Like, there's no way he wasn't. I mean, even his laugh. He laughs like, he's got the Joker laugh. I can't say he laughs like the Joker. Somebody must have been like, I like how Claude Rains laughed, and this is how the Joker should sound when he laughs, because it's the Joker through and through. Even, it's just, the movie itself, every time I watch, I go, was it meant to be a comedy? Or is this like the original like comedy horror? Or is it like a dark comedy? There are so many things throughout the movie that make me go, is this supposed to be funny? Or did they just think this was like, oh, this is how we would do this? Like, I don't know. We'll get to those moments.
I laugh at this?
Seriously. Yeah, we'll get to there'll be certain moments I'm going to stop you and be like, this moment right here, like, the fuck were they thinking?
Yeah. But I mean, like, Claude, thankfully, was James Whale's initial pick. He always was, but like, other people were tossing around Karloff because he was like hot on the scene at the time. They tossed around Colin Clive. So would they have done a good job of the voice? Absolutely, because they both have very wonderful, elegant voices, especially Karloff. If you didn't know, he voiced the animated Grinch. So from back in the day, he voiced the whole narration of the book, even the Grinch's voice, and like Colin Clive as Henry Frankenstein. I don't think anybody could have done it the way Claude did.
No, God, no. I love the fact that we don't ever see his face until the very end, too, because the voice and the things that he does throughout the movie, you're expecting this hideous creature, and he's just this super handsome guy. Yes. Yeah. You're like, oh man, like, wow, what a good looking dude.
Man, I wish you've been invisible this whole time. What's up? Anyway. We're doing
let's
great.
jump into this.
So, 1933, The Invisible Man starts off, title crawl, The Invisible Man. But it's based on an H.G. Wells book, which I've listened to. There's actually a 3-hour adaptation of The Invisible Man. You can find it on YouTube. I've watched that several times. It is more closely related to the book than this one went, but it's still fantastic in its own So this movie starts off with a stranger walking down a snowy road in good old England, finds a sign, brushes it off, it says Iping. And he continues down, and we find ourselves at the Lion's Head Inn. Nice little place with darts, piano, drinks all around.
Already cutting you off. I love the fact that the piano player is just like, hey.
Not actually playing it at all.
Did you like that? And then drunk dude just puts a coin into the piano, and he's like, oh, snap.
They're playing darts, and then I believe it was an early audio cue that happened, but the audio never properly synced up, was they just look at the door, and then it opens.
Yeah.
In strolls the Invisible Man, or we don't know that yet, but we just see a bandaged stranger who just walks in, everyone's staring at him. It's that classic trope of you walk into some place you've never been, everyone who's a local stops and stares.
Yeah,
but he doesn't
scratch.
Yeah. He just walks up to the bar and looks at Mr. Hall and just goes, I want a room with a fire. And it's like, we ain't got a room. You could get one ready.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay. He calls his wife, Jenny, who played by Una O'Connor, a stage actor, and it shows in her whole performance, not only in how exaggerated she is, but also the way she moves about the set. Like when they go up to the sitting room, she's moving about very, like, so the audience can see her front. They can see her facing the screen, the camera, the audience, until she turns around. That's kind of like a no-no in theater, I guess, is you never put your back to the audience.
Correct.
But when she's like tidying up the room, when she lights the fire, she's facing towards the camera. She's like talking about, it's the coldest winter we've had in months. And just, we had to put the cows in for a fortnight. Poor things can't get a blade of green grass. I know a lot of the lines in this movie, so I'm going to be quoting it a lot.
Yeah, I you know a lot about just all of the lines. I'm pretty sure you put on you could Russian roulette a Universal monster movie and you'd be able to quote it word for word. So
maybe. Either way.
My favorite part of her character at the end is all of the doors. Like
seriously.
She leaves the bar, she pulls up the bar door, and then she pulls up the half door, and then there's a bar door there. And she does it like 5 times throughout the movie, and it's that thing. I'm like, is this a comedy? Like, is it supposed to be a comedy? Because that's hilarious. Why are there so many doors? And why are they always closed when she's trying to come back or through?
Just leave them open. God damn it, Herbert.
Her husband hates her.
I mean, you hear him later just go, shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Up in the sitting room, Jenny asks, can I take your hat and coat and give him a nice dry in the kitchen? And he goes, no. And again, her acting, she just looks straight at the camera. It's like, oh. So he's basically like, I have some mail coming. Can I have it sent here? Can I get it tonight? And it's like, no, not tonight. The snow's horrible. You'll probably get it by a couple days from now. He's like, fine. Can you bring me some food? And she goes down to the kitchen and he starts closing the blinds that she's already opened. And then he starts to open up his jacket. Jenny brought up his dinner. He sits down. He's like, is there a key to that door? She goes, no, not a key. Not since we've gotten the place. So he goes, I want to be left alone and undisturbed. She goes, I'll see to it, sir, that you are left alone and undisturbed. She goes back downstairs, and I think her name is Minnie. It goes, here's the mustard, ma'am. She goes, you'll be the death of me with your slowness. The man wanted to be left alone. You forgot the mustard. So Jenny goes back up with the mustard, knocks on the door, opens it up, and we get a shocked Una O'Connor expression. Because we cut back quickly and we don't see a chin on this man.
Ooh. Yet she doesn't really notice.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing that jarred her more was the fact that he was a man covered in bandages.
Yeah,
when she goes back downstairs, she goes, bandages all up to the top of his head. Must have been some horrible accident. And one of the bar guys bumped his head going over the prison wall.
Yeah, I feel like it was obvious that he had bandages all over his face. He was covered, but
maybe it was like, because his jacket was pretty high up on his face.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah, and maybe they thought, it's just like a face covering or a face shield. Nah, man's covered in bandages. It was basically
a blizzard outside.
Yeah,
when he showed up. So
yeah, he goes, I told you I wanted to be left alone. and he has a napkin over his face to prevent her from seeing anything. And then she goes,
Seeing
"It's the mustard."
nothing?
Yeah. Oh. She goes, "It's the mustard. I forgot it." He goes, "Thank you," and gestures towards the table. She puts it down and goes, "Have you been mucking about on those slippery roads, sir? You could take my coat and dry it in the kitchen." Very good. She picks up the hat and he goes, "Leave the hat." And she puts it down and just shoos on out. So the way that the effect, which we then see, he lowers the napkin and there's no chin. It's invisible. For 1933, there are some really great effects in this movie.
Yeah, it still blows my mind because watching it every single time, I'm like, I can't believe they managed to do this in 33.
Yeah.
Like there are moments, especially the first time that he takes the bandages off, you can see it's a little corny, but then there are moments after that you're just like, how did they manage this in 33?
So this was done with black velvet. Like, there's actually, before he puts down the napkin, like when Una O'Connor's still walking up, you can see the black velvet mask.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I never saw it before, but I'm looking and I see it on his chin, and I was like, oh! Like, you can see from the collar line, essentially, something go up and then come out, and it's just black. So it's not his jacket, it's the actual black velvet. But, yeah, they would film the blank background, they'd film Claude with the black velvet suit, they'd film the black velvet background and just like comp everything out.
Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of it, like when there are invisible scenes, like Rob said, some of it's a little meh. There's a scene later in the movie where he's in pajamas and it's like it's clipping in and out of itself.
Yeah.
That is probably, I wouldn't say it's even horrible. Again, 1933, this probably blew everybody's mind.
Yeah,
I would say that would probably be the weakest of the shots.
Yeah.
Which is
Completely
astonishing because right before that, there is the best shot and the hardest shot that has happened with this invisibility. But we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
So we cut from Lion's Head Inn when Jenny comes down and says, "Oh, bandages everywhere." We cut to a random doctor who we find out is Dr. Cranley. And
with
his
the
daughter.
Craziest eyebrows.
Yeah. And his daughter Flora comes in. Which Flora is played by Gloria Stewart, who played Rose in Titanic, the old Rose. That is Gloria Stewart.
It is indeed, and boy howdy is she dramatic in this movie.
Yeah.
She is just so over the top. I mean, granted, she's only really in, three scenes?
Yeah, pretty much.
Is it 4? She's barely in the movie, but she really just goes for it with the I need to see him. Oh,
leave me alone. Why don't you just leave me alone? But essentially, she goes up to Dad and turns out Jack Griffin, who is the Invisible Man, worked for Dr. Cranley along with Dr. Kemp. And every time I hear Kemp now, I just go Kemp, just because that's how Claude says it. She goes, yes, Kemp. It's like, oh, okay. Who is like, oh, yeah, she's worried about Griffin again. It's like, whoa, God, he's just run away and you don't care. She flees to the other side of the scenery, which
that shot
it's a great shot.
Amazing.
It is a great shot, but it's also like, all right, cool.
It's one of those, hey, we figured out how to do a track shot sort of moments. Yeah. And they just utilized the space while they had it and while everyone was in their character and in the scene, and they just move from one room to the next. And I love the fact that he still he goes through the door as if there's a wall there. And oh man, rewatching this for the bajillionth time, I always forget about that shot, and it always just excites me because I'm like, they were really doing things making this movie. They were doing things that had not been attempted before, and they were just experimenting. This whole movie to me, it feels like a real loose script. But yeah, I mean, just so much of the camera work throughout this entire movie it's just fantastic.
It really
blows my mind. And you can see influences later throughout the years. Like they did a lot for film. I'm not just horror, but film in general. It's fantastic.
So we're still in that super cool camera shot and the super cool set, and here comes Kemp to just hit on Jack Griffin's girl. Like, Gloria Stewart is just bawling her eyes out, and she's just so upset. And he's just like, he cares nothing for you, Flora. He left you to run away. Come, I'll bring the car around outside and we'll go for a drive and we can get away from this. It's like, you fucking what?
Let me tell you how I feel about you. Like, I was
even though you're extremely upset about your fiance who just vanished without saying a word to you. I love you. Now, fuck you, bro. Fuck you, Kemp. We cut back to the Lion's Head Inn, and Jack's up in the sitting room just mixing chemicals. There must be a way back, you fool. God knows there's a way back. Trying to do his best. Meanwhile, here comes Jenny Williams just doing her job. Jenny Hall. Jenny Williams was from The Wolfman, which also starred Claude Rains. So Jenny Hall comes back. It's like, it's lunch. Lunch is at 1. And he's like, take it away. You don't want it to go cold, do you? Lunch is at 1 and it's 1 now. She tries to push open the door. He goes, get out of here, and slams the door. And here we get our first Una O'Connor scream.
Yeah.
Shrill. I don't even want to attempt it. It's just, no. It's
so excessive too, because he slams the door, breaks her finest china, as she says, and then there's a hard pause. She turns and then screams and runs down the stairs. You're like, there's a little delayed there, lady. Are you good?
Have you ever heard of the Aztec death whistle?
Yes. Yeah,
so
actually,
I want to get one. Same. We're probably looking at the same one. For those of you that don't know, the Aztec death whistle it's like the shape of a skull, or like an Aztec skull. You blow into it. Yeah, and it sounds like a woman screaming at the top of her lungs, bloody murder.
Mm-hmm.
It is horrifying. It's like listening to a Fisher cat out in the wilderness.
Okay, see, this is why. So I wanted to get one when I moved out here. I found out about them. Well, I hadn't known about them because I watched a lot of History Channel when I used to smoke a lot of weed. So
yeah,
but I knew that they existed. I didn't realize that people were like making them, and you could buy them on like Etsy.
Yep.
You can get them on Amazon now. But once I moved out here and I heard Fisher Cat for the first time, I was just like, yo, I want to get one of those and just go out into the woods and blow it and see what happens.
I would love the idea of a Fisher Cat coming across you. It screams and you just go, what now, bitch? What? And just the Fisher Cat doesn't know what to do. Oh my God.
My turn.
Anyway.
Back to the movie.
Oh, sweet Jesus. So Una O'Connor goes screaming down the stairs. Is like, he's not going to stay in this house, not another hour. Crashed the tray out of me hands and swore at me. And him behind a week with his money. Go get the money. Kick him out. I don't want him here anymore. And before he sits down and goes, if only they leave me alone, he's closed the door, and Jack looks at the beaker he was just mixing and goes, a whole day's work ruined by a foolish, ignorant woman. Slams it at the wall, and it's like,
He's such an asshole.
But he is. But
So, yeah, he kills it. He kills the role.
Yeah. So Mr. Hall comes in, and at this point, Jack was pissed off. He knows he's fucked up, but he's pleading at this point. He's like, Mr. Hall, please let me finish my work. I've come here for secrecy. I've come here for solitude. I need to be left alone while I do this. And he's just like, I don't care. You're a week behind with your money. You're yelling at the missus. You're driving people away from our house. Get out of here. And at that moment, he goes, Mr. Hall, I've been in a serious accident. It's disfigured me. He's like, I'm not talking about the bandages. I'm talking about you running up all hours of the night, crashing trays, swearing, breaking the wife's best china. You gotta go. It's no good. And he starts packing up his stuff, and Claude gets angry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Leave that alone and get out of here. And it's a power struggle, but you can't fucking, like, Claude takes a book, goes after Mr. Hall, and then pushes him after, like, throwing the book, throws him down the stairs and slams the door, and just sits back down like nothing fucking happened. He's like, all right, gonna read my book again. Here comes Una O'Connor screaming because her husband just clattered down the stairs. And then they go, get the police. And we meet our favorite cop, Jaffers. Jaffers, the stereotypical British cop. Yeah, what's all this?
Yep.
It's, oh my God, it's fantastic. Just occasionally, it's like, he's in there in the sitting room. Yeah. It's like, yes, Jaffers, we know you make sounds.
Don't forget I'm here.
Yes, me, Jeff. There's a scene later where the Invisible Man is in like a public setting and Jaffers is there and he's just kind of spinning around in a circle, swinging his billy club over his head. Like, I'm helping somehow. So Jaffers and a few of the other patrons go upstairs and they go into the room and he comes in with, what's all this? And he goes, keep back there. Me? Keep back? Do you know who you're talking to? I give you a last chance to keep back. Give me a last chance. You've committed assault. I'm tangenting because I know the fucking words.
Yeah, I'm not stopping you.
Okay, all right, cool.
Just
because there's going to be a few other tangents of that coming up real soon. So he's like, cool, you're coming down to the station. I don't care what's happening. You're coming down to the station. And he goes, all right, you fools, you brought it on yourselves. Everything would have gone right if you'd only left me alone. You've driven me near madness with your peering through the keyholes and gaping through the curtains. And now you'll suffer for it. You're crazy to know who I am, aren't you? All right, I'll show you. There you go. There's one of them.
That's good.
Thank
really
you.
Good.
He takes off his nose and throws it at him and goes, there's a souvenir for you. And they're like, what? Starts unwrapping himself, like the goggles go. This one, I like the practical effect because it's like a chicken wire dummy head to like prop up all the bandages. And it's just him moving his arms around this, unwrapping it. Then we get one of the Black Velvet scenes from behind as he's just throwing his bandages and laughing the most maniac laugh I have ever heard.
Yeah.
I can't even attempt it. It's
no, it's Joker-esque. Like that's
really
what I'm talking about. All of his laughter is it's horrifying.
How do you like that,
His laugh is it has to have been the inspiration for the Adam West era Batman, because not even it's not the Joker. The Joker in the Adam West era wasn't the Joker we know now. The Riddler is more the Joker is now. But
absolutely.
It's like Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill definitely like starts to have more of that. You can even hear his Joker sounds like Claude as the Invisible Man, even. He's got that real raspy, over the top, I'm presenting every word I say versus just like talking. It's amazing. Yeah, I love Claude Rains.
Yeah. So Jaffers and the peanut gallery leave the door. They go back downstairs into the bar while Claude is still laughing. And at this point, he's like wiping away his invisible eyes of tears of laughter. And it's a great, great scene. He starts taking off everything else. And then they go, he's invisible. That's what's the matter with him. If he gets the rest of them clothes off, we'll never catch him in 1,000 years. Come on. They go back upstairs. And Claude's just a shirt.
Yeah.
They open the door and it's just, and then just takes off in a fucking chase scene around the table of chasing a shirt. So friggin' Scooby-Doo-esque. And then Jaffers...
Cue the Benny Hill music.
Yeah. Jaffers then tries to conk at Claude, but misses and hits one of the patrons. And he goes and tries to escape through the windows, or so he thinks.
Yeah.
And Jaffers goes over and then he goes, you think I'd escape by the window like a common criminal? You need to be taught a lesson. I think I'll throttle you. And then
I always feel like the perfect thing to do in that moment is just to shove him out the window. And I always I know that's not what's happening, but I'm like, throw him out the window. It's the real darkness of me. I'm just like, push his ass out the window.
So he kind of knocks down Jaffers. He didn't kill him, but he just weakened him from strangulation. And then batters the other guys, goes out, runs down the stairs, knocks over the grandfather clock, throws open the door. Una screams, as she does. Goes through the bar, bunch of wire stunts of mugs being moved across the bar, things being thrown, bugs being taken from people's hands, and then the Invisible Man has gotten loose out into the village of Iping, pushing through a crowd of people, and everyone runs screaming in fear. On the HD like Blu-rays, you can see some wires, but honestly, it doesn't take away from it for me. Like, this whole rampage scene is incredible. The Invisible Man comes out. You can see the track and the wires when the bicycle takes off down the street. Doesn't matter. Still incredible. Bike gets picked up.
All of this is only incredible because he just yeets a baby carriage over with.
Yep.
It's just like, fuck this kid.
Yep.
The mother just screams. It's just like, what the fuck, dude?
Takes the bicycle, throws it at the guy, bats him with a broom, throws the baby down onto the ground, throws a rock through a window, takes an old man's hat and goes, "Hello, grandfather, how do you do?" and throws it into the pond.
He's just horrible, like, for no reason. Like, all right, I couldn't get a moment of silence in a week for me to do this shit. And it's like, you know what? Fuck this town in particular. Like,
fuck each and every single one of you.
Including this baby.
Especially this baby.
Out of control.
Yeah.
And it's moments like this throughout the movie that I'm like, again, is this supposed to be a comedy? Because he even makes a joke about, like, a hairbrush when he hits the dude with the broom.
How's that for a hairbrush, George Henry?
There's no way that this wasn't initially supposed to be a comedy. And then it hits this one point where he has a discussion where you're like, this isn't funny at all anymore. Like, what the hell?
Like, this was James Whale, the same guy who did Frankenstein in Return for Bride of Frankenstein. Frankenstein wasn't entirely comedic. It had its moments, but Bride was an entirely different monster, no pun intended. I feel like after The Invisible Man, James Whale was like, all right, we can go this way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Bride is over the top.
Bride's my
very
number 3.
slapsticky.
Bride is my number 3. I love Bride of Frankenstein.
It's so good.
Yeah. We'll get to that eventually, and we will wax philosophical about that on and on and on and on. Either way, baby throne, it's great. Moving on. We cut back to Cranley and Kemp, who have found themselves in Jack's lab, searching for any clues of where he possibly could have gone. There's nothing in the cupboards, and Kemp's like, I never saw anything what was in the cupboards. I know he kept instruments in there, but every time I came in, he'd lock the doors and draw the blinds. And they go over to the fireplace. They find a bunch of burned up stuff. He tried to hide what he was working on. He didn't want anybody to know. And then they find an old list of chemicals, and the last thing on there is monocaine, which monocaine is a flower from India, which bleaches any material it comes in contact with. Like, it destroyed a piece of cloth. They injected it on a dog. The dog turned white like a statue and raving mad. So basically explained, this is why the Invisible Man is a thing. It gave a backstory to it. It explained it with science, and this movie rules. This movie had actually interesting explanations and exposition. It's great. Love it. But Kemp is like, you need any more help, or can I skedaddle on out of here? And Cranley's like, yeah, go home. Good night. Bye. See ya. And he walks off into the woods just outside of where they work.
Yeah.
So Kemp's at home. He's reading a book in his study, or his sitting room, pardon me, as we know it's called later. But he's sitting in there, he's reading a book, he's listening to the radio with some music, and then a radio broadcast comes on, starts talking about the village of Iping, and how there's mass hysteria that people start believing there's an invisible man. And then he starts remembering monocaine can make things invisible. Jack's gone. The door to his sitting room opened, and a breeze came in, blew over some papers and a little curtain, and it closes, and we know the Invisible Man is there. And he turns off the radio as it goes, and everyone should be afraid of what's coming to them. And just like, oh my God. So Claude is in there, and he goes, it's me, it's Griffin, Jack Griffin. I'm frozen with cold. Sit down. Let's have a fire. And Kemp sees a chair move up next to the fire, and then his ass sits in it. So he sees an invisible ass sit in a chair and stands up and is like, oh my God. And he goes, sit down unless you want me to knock your brains in. And you see the fire poker get picked up. And Claude's commanding British accent of sit down. And he just slowly sits down, drops the fire poker. And he starts explaining of, hey, I've been through hell today. I've been trying to do as much as I can in secret. I need help. You're going to help me. And you're going to help me because I'm strong and I will fuck you up. Basically threatens him.
Yeah.
So this is where Kemp then goes upstairs with Jack Griffin to get him pajamas, bandages, gloves, goggles, the whole 9 yards. It gives him I think it's actually his bedroom.
Yeah. Well, before that, he also asks for a cigarette.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, he takes 2 drags and then just throws the thing over his head.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck, dude? Like, there's a fireplace right next to you. Like, we get you're a terrible human being, but come on, man. You're going to set something on fire. Like, just throw it in the fireplace.
I need this house to lay low. Why did the house burn down?
This is a fucking cigarette.
So he goes up and he gets changed into some pajamas, and this is where we kind of see that janky scene of the black velvet and the pajamas kind of clipping through each other. Like he'd move and we'd see the outline of the black velvet as it tracked across him. But again, 1933, this is still more impressive than anything.
All of these scenes where his limbs and head are invisible while he's wearing clothing, it is mind-boggling. Again, to think 1933. Nothing is digitally removed because digital didn't fucking exist. Mm-hmm. So it's all just camera work and layering film. It's amazing. No matter what. It's
also a nightmare.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure it took forever to do this, which is even crazier to think about. I mean, granted, most of the time he's not on screen. It's just voiceover because he's invisible the entire movie. But it's got a pretty decent running time for a movie that came out in 33, especially for a movie that used so much special effect work with layering a film. You got to think, like, any movie that would have attempted anything even close to this in the 30s or even the 40s, those movies are short. If they're an hour, we're lucky, sort of thing. Yeah. And this is over. So
this is like 71 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
Which this movie manages to tell an actual good story with progression, development, and things like that, and be done in 71 minutes. And a lot of the major blockbusters nowadays being like 3 hours and it's a shit movie. What happened?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the budget and I've got a name, so I can do what I damn well please, sort of thing.
I have daddy's money.
Yeah, nobody wants any more Avatar movies, dude. You waited 15 years for the second one. I mean, I didn't hate the first one. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. The second one took forever to come out, and it was garbage. It was Waterworld with aliens. It was just stupid. Didn't need to exist. The third one doesn't need to exist, but we're getting it anyway. My dumbass will watch it once it hits streaming.
Oh, that's funny. Damn you, James Cameron.
Yeah.
Jack Griffin's there with the pajamas, and then he comes out, and we see the definitive look of the Invisible Man. Like, when you think of the Invisible Man, you think of one of two things. When you first see him with his scraggly hair where he's sitting and staring up at you, or this. Neatly wrapped bandages, the double lensed glasses, which I have.
And we'll
took
post
forever
pictures.
To fucking find, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll post pictures like we did with the werewolf cane. So
listen, I've got some props, just saying. But like that is the prime Invisible Man. He's kind of royal. He's very defined and powerful feeling. It's oh my god, this man is terrifying.
I think the two looks also show the progression of his character becoming and embracing who he's become. Because the beginning, he's disheveled. He's like, it's a real unclean, unkept look that he has. And he's frantic because all he wants to do is reverse what he's done to himself.
Yeah.
And at this point, because of the conversation they have, he's accepted what he is. And now he just wants to be that. I mean, he literally, for unprovoked and for no reason, is just like, let's go on a killing spree. And you're like, for why, dude? Like, chill
murders
the
of
fuck
great men,
out.
murders of little men. Just to show we make no distinction. That makes it better.
Yeah, and so he goes from, I need to fix this, to this is what I am. And just embraces it. And it's horrifying.
Yeah, he's a monster in a man's skin, pretty much.
Yeah.
Monster in a man's invisible skin.
It's insane. I mean, personally, when I think the Invisible Man, my visual-wise, it's always the first. I love the loose bandages with the crazy hair and those insane goggles and the fake nose. Like, I love that look. It's bananas to look at.
That's the one they went with for the NECA figure. And like that whole first scene of him like taking off his goggles and his bandages is all based on that scene, which I will also post pictures of that because I have all 8 of them.
Good. Yeah. It's I love that look so much. I mean, the sunglasses in the second look are fucking dope. Like, I want a pair. I'd wear them for real.
Yeah, I mean, I got a really big friggin' head, so they don't fit me. But they are also they're you need to track down from a different country kind of deal.
Yeah, we both have big heads. So.
But the Invisible Man he's basically explaining, hey, one day I'll make you invisible. We're gonna go on a reign of terror together. It'll be great. It'll be the best thing ever. We'll be 2 invisible buds just hanging out. One village of people wouldn't leave him alone, so now he's like, fuck the world! Yay!
Yeah. And that's what I say is I feel like there's a premise. There was a really good premise for this movie, and then they were just like, this is as far as we got. I guess he wants to kill people? And then they just were winging it. Because the rest of the movie, from this point forward, there were just moments where I'm like, what? Who thought of this? Like,
remember, monocaine makes you raving mad. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just the side effects of a flower. Crazy fucking flower.
I guess everybody who wrote the movie was on it too.
My God, they're all on monocaine. So before we left the Lion's Head Inn earlier after the attack, Jaffers had the inspector called and be like, yeah, there's an Invisible Man down here. And he goes, where are you calling from? Lion's Head Inn? Yeah, you tell him to pour more water in it next time. Basically saying, you're a drunk. Fuck off. I don't believe you. Mr. Hall comes on the phone and goes, yeah, this all just happened. He's not going crazy. Fucking come help. So at this time, Griffin says, hey, we got to go back into town. I left my books with all my experiments at this inn. We got to go back. So he's like, get your car around. Get a blanket for the car. It's cold when you have to go about naked. And let's go back. We'll get the books. So they load up. They drive down. The inspector's holding a town-wide meeting. If it's like, all right, who saw something or didn't see something about the Invisible Man? Owner of the bike, it was taken out of his hands and rolled straight down the street. The owner of the old man with the hat picked up his hat, threw it straight into the pond. How many drinks do you have? Only a couple, sir. A couple of drinks and a gust of wind. A lot of good for you. The old man is just so after that.
So defeated. He's just like, I guess I'll just go fuck myself.
Fine. Jesus Christ. So I love the look of the Invisible Man sitting in the blanket in the car. He's just so, I'm going to sit here all snugly. And he basically goes, a guard? What can a guard do, you fool? It's like,
was that him wrapped in the blanket? Was that another chicken wire?
I believe it to be a chicken wire. Yeah. Cause when you see the black velvet, it's kind of like an entirely different like plate of a picture. So this one is just stagnant and sitting there. It's so good.
Very rigid, but it looks fantastic. I love when quote unquote throws the blanket off, and it's once again clearly just another wire where it's just being yanked into the back seat. But
Yeah.
it's so great.
The Invisible Man then leads Kemp down the street. He's like, all right, park your car here. Look forward. Don't look at me. Come on. Kicks him and like guides him into the back little fenced area and goes, look up there. When the wind opens up, I'll drop the books out. We'll come back out. It's like, okay.
So here's the thing. When they're at Kemp's house and he's like, get me these things to put on. He walks up the stairs and grabs something and he's staring at nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Us as a viewer don't have a single clue that he's followed him up the stairs, but yet he's still staring exactly. And he's like, here they are. It's not like I'm going to follow you upstairs. He's just like, get these things for me. And then he's like, all right, you can go into that bedroom. And in this moment, he's invisible, yet dude's staring at him, even though there's nothing there. And he's like, stop staring at me. He's like, I would have been like, I wasn't even sure I was staring at you. Like, I didn't know where the fuck you were. You're invisible. But then he just goes, I'm going to come out of that window up there.
Yeah.
Like, which window? Yeah. There's multiple, and you're invisible. I don't know what you're pointing at. You need to be more specific, sir.
There was a great effect back at Kemp's house that I completely forgot about. When he hands him the bandages and the gloves, he goes, you can find a dressing gown in that, or pajamas in that bedroom. And they float away. He's like, be back soon. And just, they float down the hallway.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, that must have been a wire above, and like, it's just an open roof kind of set. Because
I mean, that's
so
a
cool
lot of
still.
A lot of those were studios. That's why, like, back in the day when they made movies, all of the houses had such high ceilings. It's a studio, and it also leaves room for like microphones, and like the sound sounds better, so they're able to pick up more. But it's also for things like that where they can just rig up something and make that happen. But I mean, that even happens earlier in the movie when he picks up one of the vials while he's invisible, and
a bit of this injected on the skin, and flesh and bone will simply fade away.
And he just yeets it at the wall.
You can take over the world with Invisible Men. You can rob and rape and kill! Just slams it. Oh, what a great movie.
What an insane human.
Yeah. So Jack sneaks away, and he sneaks in the front door. Luckily, there's a couple of little kids outside watching and like trying to see in and listen to the meeting. The door opens, and they think it's the kids, so Jenny Hall comes out and goes, hey, get out of here. This meeting's private. And they go, we didn't touch the door. And they start running away, calling her an alien. But it provides enough of a distraction to everybody in the room for Jack to sneak through the bar, go upstairs, grab his books, drop him out the window. Kemp catches him, which is impressive. And then he comes back downstairs, and the inspector's like, I shall call this evening a hoax. You'll be the laughing stock of the entire country. And he tries to sign a document, but the inkwell moves away, is picked up and splashed on his face. And the look of just, a
hoax. I'll show you a hoax.
Yeah. So Invisible Man's obviously there. Jenny gets up on the table like she's seen an invisible mouse and starts dancing around like that. A mug is thrown off the shelf and beans her in the side of the fucking head.
I thought it was a pitcher. It was still
it is a pitcher. Yeah.
Lord.
But it's like you can hear it's a plastic one because it chunks off the side of Una O'Connor's head. But everyone's running out. This is where Jaffers is swinging around like, I'm helping! And the inspector's getting strangled onto the floor, and you hear Claude go, a hoax, eh? All a hoax. And he picks up a bench, and it just drops on the actor's face. Like, you can see him go, ow, fuck.
Yeah,
and then, like,
he grabs his nose. Like,
yeah, but, like, that wasn't any wire work. It didn't sound soft at all. Like,
no, God, no.
That thing was dropped onto his face, and dude took it like a champ.
I mean, it cuts away pretty quick, but yeah, he did. Especially seeing as he just tells homeboy, he's like, yeah, I crushed his skull with a bench or something like that. You're like, what?
I had to kill a stupid little policeman. And then he's just like, I had to kill someone, keep the blood pumping. He's like, you did what?
Yeah.
What was all that screaming? Murder. Huh?
Just my favorite thing to do.
Yeah. So they take off back to the house. The inspector gets brought out of there, and there's a bunch of detectives, and they start making plans. All right, you go this way, you go that way, but I'm not going to tell you the rest of it because you could be standing right next to us right now. A reoccurring bit that still is, it's a smart move, but it's also really funny.
Yeah. It's
But back at the house, Griffin is telling Kemp all about if you need to be there to help me. If I'm outside in the rain, you can see an outline of the rain on my shoulders like a bubble. When I eat food, I got to stay indoors for at least an hour. You can see it digesting inside of me, this, that, and the other thing. You must be there to wipe the dirt from under my fingernails or the soot from my feet and just help keep him clean.
Yeah, the fucking weird morbid side of me, I really wish we got to see him digest food at one point, because that would have been awesome just to see poop get formed.
It would have also been an incredible effect. I can't remember if they do something similar to it in The Return of the Invisible Man, but when he takes a drag from the cigarette in the beginning, if we just saw like smoke fill up in his lungs.
Yeah, I mean,
too far beyond its time, but man, that would have been sick.
Yeah, we still see a puff of smoke when he takes that one drag that he actually does take, which is cool, before he just throws it on the floor.
Bastard.
So disrespectful.
Save the planet. So he's like, cool, you go to bed, I'll go to bed, bring me some more food, whatever, and we'll be fine. We'll start in earnest tomorrow morning. And then this is where Kemp leaves and we see the hardest scene to film in this movie, which there's quite a few scenes that are, damn, how'd you do that?
Yeah.
But it's when the Invisible Man goes up to the mirror and he starts unwrapping himself. This had to be filmed in 4 different ways. It was film the mirror, like plate, film Claude as the mirror reflection, film the plate of the room outside, and then film Claude as his back as he's unwrapping. All of those comped in and pieced together, and this scene is incredible.
That is insane.
Yeah. 4 different shots to make one shot that lasts like, 7 or 8 seconds?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I mean, it's seamless.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah. Again, like there's some that miss, like the pajama scene earlier. But for some reason, they must have done something right here, because the pajama scene as he's walking across the room, not bad at all.
No. Yeah, it looks
good.
Yeah,
and this is when also the detectives was like, we're going to send out 1,000 men tonight, 10,000 tomorrow. There's a radio broadcast going out at 10:30. And it's honestly kind of a dark radio message.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, there's a murder in Iping. It's from an invisible man. Yes, you heard me right. An invisible man. Somehow through science or whatever, someone has become invisible. He's deranged. He's murdered somebody. He's going to come back and kill somebody else. And it's like cutting to an orphanage, old people, a man or a husband and his wife, and he grabs a club and goes and leaves. Guy gets a rifle. They start boarding up their houses. And meanwhile, the invisible man's just sound asleep in bed.
Yep. And then
this is also where it cuts back with the happy music.
Zibbity bop bop zibbity doo dee beepity bop bop doo. We're all gonna die. Derail the train.
Everyone's dancing and having fun, and then they hear this message. They're all like, "Oh!" It cuts back to the dance room. The music continues. Everyone's like, "Fuck that, dude! I'm out." Like, hell no.
Back to our regular scheduled program.
Fuck you, man. So Jack is asleep. Kemp, of course, can't sleep. He goes downstairs and he calls Dr. Cranley. It's like, Jack Griffin's the Invisible Man. He's at my house. Please come help. We can do something about this or fix this. Mm-hmm. Of course, Flora comes downstairs and goes, "It was about Jack, wasn't it?" And he goes, "God, fucking, oh, Jesus, you again." "No, Flora, go back to bed." She goes, "It was about Jack. You know what? I'm going to go do it myself." And he goes, "Jack Griffin has come back. Jack Griffin is at Dr. Kemp's house. Jack Griffin is the Invisible Man."
Yep. Doesn't change her feelings one bit.
Nope. So she goes, "I'm going to go without you." And basically that's how Dr. Cranley and Flora wind up going, because she's like, "I know where Jack is. I'm going whether you want me to or not." It's like, God fucking damn it, woman. This is where we also start getting, during the radio broadcast, they're like, there's £1,000 reward for anyone who could come up with an idea of how to catch the Invisible Man. And we get
how much is £1,000
with inflation?
£1,000 being now? Yeah, that is. When they said that, I was thinking, I'm like, that has got to be an obscene amount of money.
Nowadays, it would be £58,990 and 33 pence.
Holy hell!
Yeah. That farmer could have made so many more barns from his. Anyway, damn.
That is...
And that, oh.
Good Lord.
Yeah, right? Either way, there's a few people calling. It's like, well, it's going to be frosty in a day or two, and when it's cold outside, you can see his breath. It's like, well, how is that going to fucking help us find him? We have to find where he is to see his breath and then tackle him. Doesn't help.
Right.
So then Kemp calls and goes, the Invisible Man is upstairs in my house right now. He's sleeping. Hurry, send people. And the cop is like, oh, I've only got 5 men here, doctor. Just like laying back, like, it doesn't matter.
He is fully reclined.
And he's like, I need about 100 to surround the house. They take care of that. Then there's a knock on the door, and he goes, who's it? Who is it? He goes, it's only me, Kemp. Open the door. And he starts rattling it like I'm fucking coming in there whether you want me to or not.
Yeah.
So he opens the door and he goes, why are you down here, Kemp? Not in bed. He goes, I was afraid. Wouldn't you be afraid if I was invisible and I was in your house? Nonsense. We're partners. Bosom friends.
Jesus Christ.
And basically,
yeah,
like, we
not
have
friends.
Yeah, no. It's like, we have a lot of work to do. You're going to bed, and like leads him out of the sitting room, brings him upstairs. That's when we hear a car roll up and we go, oh shit, Kemp's in trouble. He goes, I see. You couldn't sleep, so you went downstairs. You called the police. And he goes, no. It's just Cranley and Flora. And this is where he goes, oh my God, I forgot about my fiance. Oh shit.
Oh man, I fell in love with murder and forgot about
Damn it.
my lady.
Yep. So he goes into the bedroom and he's like, I'll see Flora alone. They come in, Flora goes up, and this is another one of those powerful moments because he's like, he's invisible, but this is one of like Claude's very few actual acting bits he can get. Back at Lion's Head Inn, great acting bit. The whole like regal presentation when he walks down the stairs as the first fully wrapped Invisible Man, awesome. This where he goes on like a breakdown monologue of like, and I will offer my secret to the world with all its terrible power. The nations of the world will bid for it, thousands, millions. And the nation that wins my secret can sweep the world with invisible armies, make the world grovel at my feet. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, he's amazing. He commands this role. Like, he has complete control. Like, there's, like you were saying at the top of the episode, where it was more, they had been eyeing other people because they were names that were within the realm. And the movie, I'm sure the movie would still have ended up being good, but it would not be great. Like, that's the thing is, the movie as it isn't fantastic. But Claude Rains makes this movie fantastic.
Yes.
If anybody else had been cast as him, as the Invisible Man, it just would not have been the same.
No. Like this scene has my favorite line in the entire movie, where he's losing it and Flora's trying to slow him down and calm him down, and he goes, "Power to make the world run in fear at the touch of my little invisible finger. Even the moon's frightened of me, frightened to death. The whole world's frightened to death." And it's like, shit.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, it's
going
like
Lex Luthor.
Yeah. Gonna take over the world one moon at a time, I guess. This is where he starts hearing dogs barking, and he looks outside and hears the 100 police officers that had to surround the house. And he's like, so he couldn't sleep, went downstairs, called the cops. I trusted Kemp with my secret. And he's like, all right, cool. Bye, Flora. You gotta go. And she's like, I'm not going anywhere with you. You can't go out there. And he goes, what do you mean? I'm invisible. I could go out there in the day or night and laugh at them. Pretty much what he does.
Yeah, the entire movie.
So he goes downstairs. Kemp has opened the door, and he sneaks in and goes, thank you for opening the door, Kemp. You've been a great friend, but tomorrow night, I'm going to kill you. At 10 o'clock tomorrow night, I shall kill you. Even if you hide in the darkest, deepest cave, motherfucker, I'm coming for you.
Yeah.
And it's like, aw. Jack goes out into the yard and goes after the cops, slaps one on the face, calls him naughty boy, and just then like pulls onto one of their noses. It's unhinged.
That's what I'm saying. Is this movie supposed to be a fucking comedy? It's like, what happened?
It's dark, dude.
He pulled on my nose. Like,
yeah.
What?
And then he grabs
Who
another
pulls
cop.
on somebody's nose.
Yeah. Grabs another cop by their legs and starts dragging him across the yard. And
He's got my legs.
This is another one of those, like, the filming it in 4 different directions or like 4 different plates was the hardest scene. This is a man fully spinning by his feet, suspended in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I probably can figure out how it was done, But again, 1933. This is incredible.
Insane wire work for 1933.
Yeah. So he's spun around, thrown at a bunch of cops, takes the pants, and goes over the wall. And this scene is the funniest fucking thing, because there's just a woman running down the street in the middle of the night screaming, and you just see a shadow in the background, and it's just pants. Just bouncing down the road. Here we go gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May. Here we go gathering nuts in May on a cold and frosty morning.
I'm telling you, this movie was supposed to be a comedy.
I'm okay with it. It rules.
That reminds me, when you all hear this specific point, I want you to pause the episode and go look up walking pants horror. I forget what country it was in, but it was a few years back. There's a video at night, and it's like
Slacks?
somebody. I think no, that's a horror movie. That's a good movie. No, this was like actually captured. It was somebody filming people outside at night, and a pair of just pants go running by in the background. Like, that was a noise.
So the pants running down the hill or running down the street. Either way, it's hilarious. This is where we get our biggest kill of the movie, which is impressive. Again, 1933, not only wire work, but great miniature work in this movie as well. It's a train director, conductor, whatever, and the door opens, a lantern gets smashed over his head, and then the Invisible Man changes the tracks for the train, which then collides with another train and crashes down a mountainside, killing 100 people in the train disaster.
Yeah, for why?
But just super casually mentioned later, it's like, 20 men from the search parties were dead, and 100 in that train disaster. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, my dude's killed 120 people.
You can hear women and children screaming in that train miniature as it falls down the hill.
Yeah, it's one of those, I get that this thing makes you go crazy, but I've seen so many murder documentaries, and not once in a murder documentary have I ever heard any of the murderers previously be like, I thought about derailing a train. You're like, I don't ever think that's not the first thought, but I don't think it's a thought that any unhinged human was just like, you know what I should do today? Derail a train.
Hell
like,
yeah.
No, don't.
Aw.
100 people, 120, soon to be 121.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
Oh, I mean, it's also going to be more than that too.
True.
Yeah, he throws a couple search people down the hill, like just down a mountain, and they get distance. Like whatever the crash pad situation is underneath them, like they get distance and height.
Yeah.
It's quite impressive.
Like, and one for you, just hucking people down there.
You found me, aren't you pleased? Throwing people down a fucking mountain.
Yeah.
So Claude then sneaks into a bank, takes a bin of money or a drawer of money, starts playing Robin Hood out in the streets, going, "A gift from the Invisible Man, money, 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 money." Oh my god, it's unhinged. It's awesome.
Yeah, and how no one noticed a drawer floating, not just a drawer floating, because he like carries it over somebody's head. He also opens the door, like the bar style door at the bank. Like not a one person was just like, does anybody else see the floating drawer of money? Like, he just goes the fuck outside and he just starts hucking money around.
I'm currently working on your transaction. I know. I'm getting it done. I'm sorry. No, there's a floating drawer. Sir, please be patient. All right, we're very busy today.
Never mind. I'll just go take the money that's floating out the door right now.
Free money. So after this, the inspectors went to Kemp's house, and or the detectives went. Cranley and Flora were there, and he's like, "Why were you at this house at like 2 a.m?" He goes, Kemp told me the man was here. He needed my help, and he goes, "I understand you had another assistant, Dr. Jack Griffin." And Kemp goes, "It's fucking Griffin, dude. Just tell him, all right? There's no point in hiding it. It's Griffin. He's gonna kill me, and you're all just sitting here doing absolutely nothing."
Yeah.
So they devise a plan. They clear out his entire study, and like with a net, it's really funny because there's one cop that's like stuck behind the net, and he's like,
I specifically wrote this in my notes because I was just like, what? Like, it makes zero sense, like, at all. They're so close together, it's a loose net, they just walk from one end of the room to the other. If the dude was already in there, he'd be like on the mantle or on the window jamb or standing somewhere else. And then he goes, the room's clear, come have a seat. And
it's like story time.
Everybody sits down. Yes, thank you. I wrote story time.
And the detective laughs like, this is fucking hilarious, guys. You should see what you look like, idiots.
On the floor.
I love the image now when you said he's on the mantle of just like the Invisible Man, just like spread eagle naked, just like as Batman on top of the mantle, like bleh.
It's just
like
hanging,
a fucking gargoyle.
Hanging dong over everybody. Oh my God.
I can sit there in the day and night and laugh at them with my dick out. It's like, what?
They can't see my full moon.
So the plan that the detective gets,
so stupid.
The plan that the detective has, and there was a scene earlier where he's like talking with some reporters, and one of them is an uncredited Dwight Fry. Just felt like I had to put that in there. Dwight Fry is in this movie. He played Renfield in Dracula. He played Fritz in Frankenstein, and then I think his name was Carl in Bride of Frankenstein, but basically playing another Fritz-like character.
Carl. But I'm doing this as hard as I can. The plan, Force reference. Sorry,
that's okay. The plan is to use Kemp as bait. And it's like, we're going to draw him into the station, and that's where we'll take him. He's like, he's not a man. He'll fucking kill you all and come take the keys and then kill me. Yeah. Like, he won't stop. So they're like, cool, we'll disguise you as a cop, bring you back here, drive 100 miles away into the mountains, then you're safe. He goes, okay, I like that idea. And, well, likes, very loose quote. But they start escorting Kemp from his house to the police station.
Tell the listeners how he is escorted in the second dumbest way possible. Paint the picture of this idiocy.
So before they walk him out of his house and then they get him into the car, Jack Griffin follows and goes, they think they're very clever. But they get him out of the car, and it's like a cube of cops. And they just put him in the middle of it with a net around them to prevent anything from getting in. And they're just kind of like down the street.
Stupid.
It is stupid, but I mean, at the same point, that's good thinking.
Oh my God.
I commend them for it, even though it looks ridiculous as fuck.
Yeah, it looks idiotic. So dumb.
The detective also gave several officers on the inside of the walls spray guns. So that way, if something comes over the wall, it blasts like black paint with a giant radius. And then, of course, like the portly cop hears something. Yeah. And it's a little white cat accidentally knocks some dust and he spray paints the fucking cat.
I literally have a single note that just says, that poor cat.
That poor fucking cat, dude.
Dude, did they really spray that cat, or did they just wet a black cat and replace the white cat?
It honestly doesn't look like it's a black cat. It looks like it's a painted cat somehow. I don't know how it was done. I haven't looked it up, and honestly, I'm scared to know.
Yeah, the 30s were unhinged, man. That poor cat probably, they were like, all right, it's black. Put it in a sack and throw it in the river. Like,
your name is no longer Snowball.
Yeah, your name is just dead now. Oh my God. I don't know. Maybe it's the animal lover in me. And I'm just like that.
No, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that.
It's also it's the second to last note I have. I feel like my brain just shut off after that point. Like, I know that I've seen this movie so many times. Yeah, I just forget that scene, and for good reason. Like, yeah. I hate it. I hate it so much.
So Kemp's changed into a police outfit, and he gets driven back, or driven. He's drove back to his house by another cop. God. He driven it is back to his house in a
Perfect.
police car.
Nailed it.
And he goes, where are you going to go? And he goes 100 miles away into the mountains. Drive away quickly. Hops in his car, takes off. And the cops are freaking out in the station. And you hear the bell toll 10 o'clock. And he goes, 10 o'clock, you wanted to murder me. And he goes, I'm here to keep my promise, Kemp. And he just goes, oh, shit. The Invisible Man's
fucked up.
Yeah, Invisible Man's been here laughing at you silently the entire fucking time. And he ties up Kemp, puts him in the passenger seat, and explains, hey, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to take off the emergency brake. You're going to go down there, do a little somersault as the car careens through the fence, break your arm, giant flip for a couple 100 feet or so, and you're going to land and break your neck, and then you'll be dead. Goodbye, you sniveling rat. Pulls the... Oh.
I like the him getting tied up sequence too, because like they didn't do anything extraordinary with it. It was just a lot of close-ups and very quick cuts, which I thought was really genius. And again, for its time, really smart and inventive. Like they were, again, way ahead of their time for this. But yeah, he pulls the e-brake and
then off Kemp goes with a maniacal laughter and a loud scream, and this miniature car explodes into a fireball.
So much for breaking arms and neck. You're just going to burn to death, dude.
Yeah. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So everyone's freaking out the next day. It's like, well, how the hell are we going to catch him? There's burglaries everywhere. He's got to sleep. Blah, 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 blah. We cut to a barn that swings open and hay is moved. The Invisible Man's having a nice little kip just in the barn underneath some straw, probably very itchy. He sneezes, probably scratching on his balls.
He probably sneezed because he's been running around butt-ass naked the whole time, and it's freaking freezing outside,
sick,
Mr. Bigglesworth.
It's freaking freezing. Meow. That's the sound of a frozen cat.
That's also 2 weeks in a row with Austin Powers references. I'm not sorry. I love those movies.
Dude, don't be. Oh my God, I love those movies so much. They're like, how are we going to catch him? It starts snowing outside, and they're like, this is our chance. This is our chance. The farmer goes back to his barn and hears snoring and breathing, and he pokes it like the pile of straw with his cane. Mm-hmm. And he goes down to the police station. He goes, excuse me, sir, but there's breathing in my barn. What do you mean, breathing in your barn? And he explains, they bring them all out there. Their plan is to set fire to the barn, surround it, go up single file so that way like footsteps don't get crossed, put a bunch of sticks down, light that bitch on fire. And they do, and the guy who lights it on fire looks like he almost catches him fucking self on fire.
Yeah.
So they light it up, and the barn doors swing open, and we see a great effect of footsteps in the snow. This was done from a platform, and they pulled out foot-shaped boards from underneath to have that snow compress.
That's really cool.
Same with when the body fell.
My final note in here is just like, he's naked.
But he looks like he's wearing shoes.
It looks like shoe prints.
Yeah. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. God. Don't worry about it. God.
It's a really cool effect, though. Like a really
it's
cool
incredible.
effect.
Yeah. So he comes out. They shoot him. He crashes down. And if you look very carefully, it's one of the funniest last little bits. The detective puts his hand down to be like, is there someone here? Basically touches his dick.
Yeah.
Basically high-fives his dick.
He definitely like touches where his chin should be and then immediately just goes for groin. He's just like, well, there's his face.
He's got a really long nose. Yeah. That's not his nose. Oh, shit. And then we cut to the next day.
You see Pinocchio? It's growing.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
Did he lie through this movie? I'll never tell. So a doctor comes out and goes, hey, are you Dr. Cranley? He goes, yeah. And he goes, yeah, he's at the end. If your daughter wants to go see him, it's just going to be really jarring, though, because the effect of the drugs will die with him. Mm-hmm. So he'll turn visible again. He goes, okay. Flora goes in, and Jack basically is like, I shouldn't have meddled with with God's plans or whatever, or science, and something should have been left alone. And he just turns very, very slowly. We see his skull, we see the muscle, and we see his face then with a tremendous orchestra music in the background as this scene ends.
Yeah.
And we see the beautiful Claude Rains, the only time of this movie, and Jack Griffin is dead, and that is 1933's The Invisible Man.
Yippee! And Flora's still broken up over it. Dude's killed over 100 people, and she's just like, oh no!
He's misunderstood.
No.
It's like, I don't care what he did, I love him still.
So per usual, on a scale of 1 to 10, yeeted baby carriages.
I knew you were going to go there. I was going to go dancing, laughing shirts. I knew that's the one you were going to do.
I have to.
That's fair.
He hucks a baby.
He straight up does. Please kick the baby before South Park.
I kick the baby? No, kick the baby. So how many would you give it?
I would give this 10 yeety babies. I love The Invisible Man. It is, again, Wolfman, Invisible Man, both 10s. I love the Wolfman just a little bit more, but The Invisible Man is incredible. It's a powerful performance. Like, Claude Rains is actually buried in Moltenboro, which is like an hour from me. And I visited him 3 times, and it's him and his last wife in matching 4-foot-tall obsidian gravestones with a beautiful background of like mountains and trees. It's so peaceful. It's so serene. And every time I go there, there's always new Invisible Man stuff.
That's
like
awesome.
Left for him. Yeah. So this movie is tremendous. It holds a special place in my heart. It always will. I love it. 10.
Nice.
Rob, yeeted babies. Tell me how many.
Yeah, it gets it gets an 8, but it only gets an 8 from me, not a 9, because it just seems so unhinged. The progression from like, I need to figure this out and go back to, I'm going to kill 120 some odd people. It happens so quickly that it just takes me away from the movie a bit, even though I've seen this so many times and I love the movie. It's just that. Aside from that, it's the visual, the camera work, everything that they did for this movie, stuff that had never been thought of to even attempt in the first place. All 8 points to all of that. It's so amazing, and laid the groundwork for film to progress to where it ended up getting to. I'm not going to say now, because right now it's not so great, but you know.
Yeah.
Film, not The Invisible Man. The Invisible Man's still great, but
yeah.
Yeah.
I think with that being said, our bloody legend of the week, undoubtedly Claude Rains.
Shit, yeah, it is.
The performance the performance he gives, he doesn't need to have his face. He doesn't need the looks. It's just simply his voice, and even though he's covered in bandages and like you don't know who he is, his physical performance, like trembling as he's delivering these powerful, impactful speeches. There's no better Invisible Man. Vincent Price does a great job, but I'm sorry, nobody comes even remotely close to Claude.
No. There's no argument about it.
Yeah.
Well, is there anybody that you would love to thank this week?
I would love to thank you, of course, as per usual, the ever changing schedules that I come up with, and then you're like, nope, that's okay, we could do it here. Or if I don't answer you at all, sometimes on text, sometimes all the time. Either way, I'm still seeing the messages, and thank you for not being like all the time, asshole. Answer your fucking phone.
Sometimes it was just like, hey, dickhead.
Yep.
With the program.
Deal. Of course, I would like to thank my wonderful better half, Zoe, over in England. We are getting down to that time where I will finally be going across the pond to a different country. So I am ecstatic and super excited about that. I'd like to thank all the suckers out there and all the wonderful, wonderful people over at twitch.tv/feistycheese and the Ranch Gang. This week we got back to streaming. Watching these Invisible Man movies and all the Universal movies again made me want to play Horrified. So we played that earlier this week, and it's a nice little horror board game that maybe Rob and I are doing something with later. Ooh, who knows? Tune in to find out. But yeah, that's me. Rob.
Well, I want to thank you
Hi, that's me.
per usual for all the amazing editing and kind of going with the flow with my creative brain going, ooh, this would be fun and this would be cool and that would be fun, and just kind of making it all happen. I want to thank the suckers especially too as well. These episodes are getting longer.
Yeah.
We're having so much fun doing it though, and we're getting such great reception. Like people are loving this. So I mean, if our tangents become too much and you want to hear less, let us know. We'll do our best to rein it in a little bit, but we're having a lot of fun doing this.
Yeah.
I need to thank my lovely partner too. She's been great, especially with the schedule change going from what our original recording set schedules were to now it's just like, hey, we're going to record midweek.
Yeah.
She's gone with it, and she's been super supportive, and it's been great. I also would love to thank, per usual, Anna over at Willow Tree Kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Her shop is barren right now, so I want to just thank any of you all out there who actually have gone and placed orders with her. I know for a fact you made her holiday season, and she's been doing so much work on her own, doing open houses and stuff like that. So she's just doing great, and we're so happy to be partnered up with Willow Tree Kitchen and just
Hell yeah, dude.
see her grow in a year. It's amazing to watch this growth happen. So
She deserves it.
yeah, thank you, Anna, and also congratulations. It's amazing. The last one I want to send out, I'll mention it again next week's episode 2, just in like 2 short weeks, not even at this point. I'm flying out to California because our little promoter, not so little promoter, Chachi, is getting married.
Yay!
So I'm going to be flying out to California with my partner to witness his marriage to his amazing fiance and very soon to be wife. So I'm amped to see him again. I've missed my brother, my other brother from another mother. So
From
yeah.
another other mother? The
Yeah.
title just keeps getting longer.
It's the longest title ever.
Oh my god.
That was the episode for this week.
Yes, that was this week. Next week we will be, of course, following it up with not the Return of the Invisible Man, but
No.
1951's Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man. It has been a minute since I've watched this one.
Same.
Oh my god.
I'm just so excited to watch more Abbott and Costello. It's funny too. I can watch
Dude,
Abbott and
seriously.
Costello whenever I want. I'm an adult. I can do what I want. But at the same time, I just wait. I've been waiting. I'm like, I want this to be fresh. I want us to laugh at this together. I love Abbott and Costello. This is
So
going to be
good.
so much fun.
I'm
But-
so here for it.
Until next week. Sleep tight, suckers.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Spoiler Sleepover. But the fun doesn't stop here. Go follow us on Instagram at Spoiler Sleepover and check out our website www.spoilersleepover.com. It'll be fantastic of you. So until next time, sleep tight, suckers.
Spoiler Sleepover is sponsored by Willow Tree Kitchen.
Willow Tree Kitchen is a one-woman owned and operated bakery currently slinging delicious vegan cookies, mixes, and baked goods out of Kitchen Local in Amesbury, Mass.
Follow Willow Tree Kitchen _ on Instagram or go to their website at willowtreekitchen.com for more.